Today is February 5th. Phil saw his shadow, and spring is coming early this year. That's even more true in baseball. Spring will be here before all the major free agents are even signed. You're listening to the Bridge to Buctober podcast. Yins, guys. Thank you for listening to the Bridge to Buctober podcast, where we talk all about them Pittsburgh Pirates and that. My name is Josh, and I'm joined as always by my brother Jake. What's up, Jake?
Not much, man. Temperature's starting to get a little bit warmer down here.
I don't want to hear it. I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
It's all right. It's all right. You're going to come join me down here for a little bit.
Yeah, that's right. It's cold. In the mornings, it did warm up. Today was a really sunny day.
Yeah.
It did warm up a little bit today. But, yeah, we're still waiting on a lot of free agents.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
It really is. Mute Button will be my friend today for some reason at about 8 o'clock tonight. By the way, we're recording this at like 11 because Jake worked late. But I just started coughing. So I don't know. It's been a long day.
Mm-hmm.
We had a birthday party for one of the boys. It's kind of fun to know that you can fit like 30 people in your house and feel fine about it. Now, granted, when a lot of those people are little people, meaning children specifically, when you have a lot of children in your house, it's a little easy to rack those numbers up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
But just makes for a long day,
mm-hmm.
you know, and so it's been a good one. But ate a roast again today.
Nice.
Mashed potatoes and gravy. It's gonna be a Sunday, every Sunday thing until something changes. But the fatty pieces were a little off still, but like everything else is good. So
yeah.
Just rolling with it, man. It's been
man,
really
awesome.
cool. It's been really cool. Had a cheeseburger from B-Dubs this week. So if you don't know why I'm talking about the food that I'm eating, then you haven't been around
You're not
long.
one of the real ones.
Yeah. And so anyway, not going to get into that. Just go listen to the end of. It's been a couple weeks now, huh?
I think so.
A couple episodes ago. Check out the end of that. But anyway. I don't want to spend any more time on that. We've got a lot to talk about. The Chapman signing is official. So that's one of the things on our list here. There's an in-division trade that happened. We'll talk about the impact of the Corbin Burns trade. Talk about some free agency stuff. How about MLB Network top 10 right now? We had some chatter on that one this week because of something. So, and just some odds and ends here throughout, and we'll just kind of cover those as we talk about it. But I just think there's enough this week to have some good conversations around the players that are out there and available, and the players that the Pirates are looking at or signing or anything like that. And then this whole free agent, the top of the free agent list this year, I think is really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, Key Brian Hayes and whether or not he's a top 10 third baseman. So stick around for that one. I think we'll have a nice conversation around the whole series, the top 10 series. I mean, there's not a whole lot of Pirates in there.
Right.
So it's a short conversation when it comes to that. It's a little bit of a short conversation. So what do you want to get into? Let's get into the impact. Is there anything else that no, there's nothing else on this. Let's hit something real quick, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Let's hit something real quick. Jason Mackey tweeted earlier this week that he has a source saying that Stephen Brault may join Sportsnet Pittsburgh. I love that. Are you in on that? You like that?
Yeah, I've always liked Stephen Brault. I always thought he had good He joined the booth a couple different times. I thought I liked him.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of good stuff to say.
He did a lot of stuff with Chris Rose too, on the Rose rotation with John Boy Media and stuff like that. Very good on there too. So I think that was a career path that I could see him going down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah. Stephen Brault. There we go. Aroldis Chapman deal is official. And the what do you call it? The oh man, I was gonna there's something in my head. The resulting casualty. I think is what I was thinking of or whatever. Canaan Smith-Njigba designated for assignment. I'm gonna let you go first on this one because I know that you're a Canaan Smith-Njigba fan in a way. Like you were into him.
Yeah, I think he had a lot more that he could have brought to the table had he been able to figure out his launch angle stuff. Even he's bigger guy, had a lot of power. Like he hit the ball hard. He just hit the ball on the ground a lot, like way too much.
Yeah,
but I think time given, he's what 23.
I think that's a good question. I think he's a little bit older than
that. Anyway, it's just I don't know. Hey, he'll have the opportunity either continue in our organization or somewhere else to figure that out. And I think if he does figure that out, he could have a nice career. Even if it comes as like a fourth outfielder or something like that. But I think he'll have some pop eventually. I don't know. I liked his game. I liked he hustled a lot.
Yeah, he'll be 25. His birthday is in April. So end of April, he'll turn 25.
Yeah, and it's not like he wasn't a guy that I thought would be, let's get him in Pittsburgh because he's gonna rake, and I wasn't that high on him, but I do like him. I like his game. If he could just figure how to lift the ball even just a little bit more.
So that's my thing. The hard hit rate is up. The ground ball rate is unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
And he still, with a ground ball rate like that, he still was able to knock a career high 15 home runs last year in AAA. To me, I don't think that he will ever be a fourth outfielder type. I just don't think he gets there. However, if he could figure out the launch angle, he's a starter with power. And so I think that he's kind of that boom or bust type guy. I just don't think that, we saw it at the major league level, and it wasn't a lot, but it was bad. It was real bad, right? That the average is just going to be very low. And I think that if I remember, he was kind of almost like that was a strength, that average was more of a strength than power. And for a guy like him, I got to think the power's got to be your strength, or else you're going to get, you're not going to get those opportunities. I still think he should have probably gotten a few more. It's really a Travis Swaggerty type situation as far as playing time, when they could have had playing time. Obviously, Swaggerty comes with injuries and family things and a bunch of other things, but Smith-Njigba just, even when he was there, he just didn't get a chance.
Yeah.
And that is weird to me. And maybe there's a reason for it. Maybe it's just the fact that if he's not going to hit fly balls, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like you're already hitting the ball hard, and the dude is huge, very strong. And he wasn't much on defense. It's got to come from the bat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I think for me, if he ever figures it out, it's going to be launch angle, and it's going to be a power bat hitting in the 230s, 240s. And I think that he could play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He could be a guy. And there's years to do that. He might be a bounce around guy and click late. And I don't like to throw out comps in a way, in a sense, like this. But just imagine a similar, maybe not quite as heightened, imagine a similar path as like a Jose Bautista, who maybe just clicks all of a sudden. Now, I'm not saying I'm
50 home runs.
I'm hot taking, Smith-njigba for 50, right? But I could see him carve out a way to maybe like hit the league 28, 29, 30 and go for 30 bombs or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I really actually see that type of a, but if he doesn't, he's not going to ever go. I don't know. I mean, it depends on the team, but I don't see him being like, a guy without being a power guy. That's just my, the way that I see it.
Right.
Hopefully he sticks around, man. I doubt it. I think there's enough there that he's going to be put on waivers a few times and get claimed a few times.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You look at some of the names of guys that get claimed out there, he's getting claimed. And hopefully it's a trade, right? Hopefully there's a trade involved. I don't know what day. What is it? It's like 7 or 10 days. I don't know. Things like that I just get foggy in, right?
Yeah.
I think it's 7 days to trade. And then after that, they have to actually outright him because of where we're at. So anyway, I don't know, man. I would have thought it was Alika.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But he's hanging around right now. What do we got here? A minor league deal, Willie Peralta. This is a guy that I saw a lot of comments on. I could use a few more of these. If I'm being real here, I could use a few more of these. Minor league deals. Yeah. Invites to spring training, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm sure he'll be added to that list. The list was released, but he was not on it, obviously, because it's not, I don't think that it's really even official. But the minor league deal, man, I mean, this is a guy who's spent, 10 years in the majors? Last year, really bad in AAA, mostly out of the bullpen. Year before that, started some games, was okay? Is that what we were looking at? Oh, you know what? Still have it pulled up.
He started games in AAA.
No, 24. Really 24 starts in AAA, 6.31 ERA last year. But
he's had some success out of the bullpen in the majors the 2 years prior.
Right. Well, no.
Or the 1 year prior. The other year was starts, yeah.
Yeah, 1 year prior to that year. So 22, mostly out of the bullpen in Detroit for a 2.58 ERA. But even the year before that, 18 starts, 19 overall games, so only one game out of the bullpen. He still had a 3.07. The whip has been high in both of those years. So it's not like it's been all good, right?
Sure.
But it's, it's been up and down, whatever. I see a guy like this as almost, man, I don't want to say critical, but this could be important because let's talk about Jared Jones. Jared Jones could be a guy that impresses, and he could be on his way to Pittsburgh at some point this season. He's really, so long as he continues to pitch the way he did last year.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's the case, I'm looking at Willie Peralta. Let's say there's an injury early, right? Let's say there's something going on early, and you need to have a call up and a send down. But the problem with that call up send down is maybe it's coinciding with something else, and it's essentially going to be, let's get real here. Let's say it's early enough that you don't want to start Jared's clock.
Yeah.
Well, however that makes you cringe. You know what I'm saying? But we know it's important.
Yeah.
We know it's important, and I'll say this till I'm blue in the face. I know a lot of people say Paul Skeens should be there opening day. If Paul Skeens is going to make this team this year, he better not show up until late April. Because a guy like that is not, this is a hot take, by the way. This is a hot take. I'm not trying to take money out of anybody's hands. That's not my intention here. But that guy's not going to be in Pittsburgh long. It's Garrett Cole. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the level that this guy hopefully is at. Which means if I'm a fan, I want him here. that extra year. So you better believe I want that to happen. Now, if I thought he even had a chance to be here in late April, Paul Skeens, I mean, maybe I'd change my take on that, and maybe I would want him there right out of the gate. But in the same way though, what's he gonna miss? Like 3 starts?
Right.
You know what I mean? Now, Super 2, I'm not messing around with that. Because that is actually taken, right? Let him get to arbitration in 3 years. Let him get paid his arbitration that's due, right? I got nothing there. I don't like that. But you better believe that service time thing, that's important for a fan. I want to root for this guy one more year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm with you there, yeah.
But I know it still messes with because he's hitting a free agency a year later, and I understand that, and it's not perfect. But as a fan, you know what I'm saying, of the Pirates, that I want the Pirates to have him for an extra year. And if you know he's not signing an extension, and if Bob Nutting's the owner, he's not signing a fair extension.
Right.
You know what I mean? But if you know, you just saw a trade this year in Corbin Burns and what they got in return. And we'll talk about that here in a minute. You got to trade him with 2 years left almost.
Yeah.
What we did with Garrett Cole. We did not get the return that we would. I guess you could call the Musgrove coming back, and then what we got for Musgrove, you could in turn say, okay, but you would have liked more than Colin Moran and Jason Martin and Michael Felice. You know what I mean? Like one of those guys too, not just Musgrove. It would have been nice.
To be fair, I mean, I'm sure that we weren't the only ones that saw Colin Moran be projecting a little bit better than what he turned out to be.
Yeah, that could be true too.
But still, you're dead on. You expect to get at least one more of those players hit.
Yeah. There's no reason to go down the Paul Skeens path. And like I said, I reserve the right to change my opinion on that tomorrow.
Sure.
I'll go ahead and throw that out there. I just went there. Anyway, Willie Peralta would be a good player to call up and then, send right back down. I'm sure he doesn't have, he's 10 years in the league, right? So this is a guy who's already, he's going to have to go through waivers. Right. You're probably going to have to, especially if it's like, well, we got to get him off the 40 man even. You know what I mean? If it's even something like that. That's a guy I'd like to bring up for a start or two and then have to lose him. You know what I mean? I would rather do that than DFA somebody else or something like that. Or bring up Jared Jones if maybe it's an emergency, we need him. And it's like, well, he's not doing great, but I don't care, we need him. And then he comes up and gets shelled and he gets crushed emotionally and, mentally.
Emotional damage.
So basically, that's all I'm saying. These depth guys, these veteran guys who've been in the show for a long time on minor league deals, dude, that's awesome. We need more of that.
I don't mind those at all.
Yeah, I'm all about that.
It also puts somebody in the minor leagues that's been there, so.
Yeah, and it's just the fact that it just doesn't, it's when someone would say, Willie Peralta's not what I had in mind, you need to sign this guy instead. No. You need to sign this guy too.
Right.
This signing is important.
Yeah.
Not important it might not be important, right? It's just a little bit of security.
Right.
It's a little bit of depth. You never know what's going to happen. And you'd rather bring up a guy like this to get blasted instead of somebody who's going to be good and not ready.
Right.
You know what I mean? I guess that's all I'm saying. So I don't mind this at all. I think that it can happen alongside a good player.
Yeah.
Non-roster invites, which will probably include him, they have been announced. Anybody there on that list that you're looking at? Obviously it's exciting because we're looking at all those top prospects, right? You've got Skeens, you've got, help me out here. Termarr Johnson, you've got Chandler, you've got Solomito, you've got Harrington, you've got Jared Jones. All invited. That's mega, right? 1 through 6, all going to be there. And that's typically what you want to see, right? They're all going to be there. Is there anybody else that you're like saying, hey, sneaky, I want to see Matt Gorski or something like that? Is there, or just really just those guys?
I mean, it's mostly those guys. I don't know. You got some weird ones on there too, like a Jake Lamb, Billy McKinney.
Anything like for Celestino, like just to see somebody, I mean, like defensively in center field, who's very good. Like anything there that might say, it's interesting anyway.
Sure. I mean, a lot of those guys, I mean, everybody's interesting to me. I'll be honest.
Okay.
I
wondered if there was maybe even a pitcher.
That's one of the reasons I like we're going down there so early too, because like everybody's still going to be there.
Yeah. That is true. We are going like the very first week of games.
I think it'll be Salamito's going to be one to. I know you brought him up, but
no,
I'm just looking at some of the pictures.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. But like I said, not enough guys like Willie Peralta. You know what I mean? I mean, he'll be there's just not guys like that, and usually you would like to see a couple of those guys that are just kind of, on these little non-roster minor league deals. There was a bunch of them that went through today. Some former Pirates hitting up some minor league deals with an invite to spring training and stuff. So,
yeah,
I mean, yeah, that's all. It's not like a huge deal for me, but those ones are always like, who's going to have a shot? What was last year was, what's his name? They got to come up and play quite a bit too.
Maggie?
No. Owings.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Kind of made it enough of an impact to stick around and got an opportunity on a, you know what I mean? On a, little while, actually. Probably overstayed his time, but that's not the point here.
Yeah.
Carlos Santana is signing a 1-year deal with the Twins, $5.25 million with some incentives. But obviously there were some rumors recently that he was close to coming back, and now we see that's obviously not going to happen.
Right.
Not a lot of money there.
No, I thought there was going to be a little bit more money there, and that's why I wasn't crazy about bringing him back.
Yeah, we heard anything between 7 and 9, something like that.
Yeah.
So incentives are good. I think that there should be a lot more contracts like that. Hey, I'm going to give you base value and I'm just going to load it with incentives. If you're good, I don't mind paying you.
Right.
You know what I mean? But if you're not, I also don't want it to hurt. And so I think it's good too, because it also makes a team pay for players who do well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where it's almost like, hey, this is what I want to offer you. I don't know. And then a team might get a good deal on a player. But if you load that thing with incentives, like guys usually get paid fairly.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I had a really good year. Yeah, you got paid for it. Good job.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, yeah, I think that's cool. All right, Corbin Burns traded to the Orioles. Do you have the trade in front of you? Because I forgot the guys' names.
I don't.
Okay. Well, we can get it real quick. Do you know what? Did I write it up here at the top? Nope. That's awesome. I did really good with my notes this week.
And one was DL Hall or something like that.
DL Hall, which is really interesting because when I saw the trade, I didn't know that he was even an option out of the bullpen. Like, this guy's been a starter. Mm-hmm. But he pitched out of the bullpen a little bit. I guess he can hit 100. And so there's value because of the command. So a lot of guys with command issues, you put him late in the game, throws gas, whatever. I think they'll probably start him. I think he'll be a starter.
Yeah.
To me, I think that would be. I mean, you trade Corbin Burns, you better get a starter back. It better not be a reliever,
right?
And an infielder.
Yeah.
And I thought there was one more guy they threw in there.
Yeah, there was 3.
Oh no, it was a draft pick.
Oh yeah.
So Joey Ortiz, who knows if Willie Adames gets dealt now? I could see that happening. This was weird for me. You pick up Rhys Hoskins, and I think we even said, well, Corbin Burns is sticking around now.
Right. Wrong.
And the weird thing is like this isn't the return that I would have felt would make this happen.
Right. I'm with you on that. Like I definitely, even though he's only got 1 year left, I mean, this is a dude who's going to be in the Cy Young conversation year in and year out. I get it. He's probably a 1 year, 1 year rental, but
yeah, I would say so. Yeah, I mean, you remember last year was kind of like, oh, he's not the same. I mean, he's still 339, dude. 32 starts, 100.
Split it in half.
193
Look at his
innings.
second half. Look
Yeah.
at his second half numbers. They're ridiculous. 2-something ERA.
All right, guys, you heard the man. I'm going to split it in half. First half of the season, yeah, but still 394, 271. Like 394, what are we even talking about here?
Right.
Is the months back? 401 early, 499 in June. And then it was a 185 in July, 398, and a 251. So kind of got it back in July, right? But I mean, you're under 4 in today's game. You're under 4 and you're throwing 193 innings. You're worth every penny. 200 strikeouts? Are you kidding me? Like, you're worth every penny.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not. We talk about that all the time. You can't throw 200 innings, or I guess we're lowering that number right now. I guess. But
unfortunately,
let's lower it if you want to. I don't want to. You give me 200 innings year in and year out and do it at an under 4 ERA with a few years where, I mean, like, this guy's got some years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does he have a Cy Young? He's got a Cy Young. He's got one Cy Young. He's got an ERA title. Same season. Usually happens that way. But, I mean, he's got some years, dude. He's got 4 seasons of his 6. He's been under a 3. You're an ace, dude.
Absolutely.
Now, the last 2 years, 202 innings, 193 innings. 33, 32 starts. Like, you've just established yourself as an ace.
Mm-hmm.
294, 339 ERAs those 2 years. That's ace quality stuff. And Baltimore's got a great team, and they needed an ace. And they're going to have one. They're going to have
one. Even if it is only for 1 year.
Which is, they need it. I mean, that's what they were missing last year. I mean, you look at the Yankees bringing in Soto, and you're like, yeah, the Yankees are feeling good. And then, I mean, I saw some Yankee fan reactions, right? They're like, seriously? We thought we had him, and now you get Corbin Burns? You know what I mean? That guy won't be able to give up a home run to a right-handed hitter in Baltimore. Well, we looked at the numbers. The home runs were a little bit higher last year than I thought they were, but
they're still not high.
They're still not high. He's still going to be great for them. And the return just is not as great. So what does this do for the NL Central? I mean, do you feel like Milwaukee was one of those teams? I mean, they had to at least be. They weren't going to get, like, buried.
Right. They weren't going to be the Cardinals of last year. That wasn't going to happen.
No, I mean, but this is big. I mean, you look at their rotation.
If Freddie Peralta is to be there,
it's not much better than what we have, dude.
No, it's not.
It's really not. You could convince me if you had a really good argument if you think that it is better, but they don't have anybody, even Mitch Keller. Right? So
yeah.
And they had a guy who was better than Mitch Keller before this week.
Right.
So, start there. I don't know, man. They're going to hit. They play in a hitter's ballpark. They're going to hit. At least right now. But I don't know. I mean, you pick up Hoskins, you're thinking, all right, man, feeling good. And then this is huge.
Burns, and then they're like, and we're still listening.
Yeah, they said we're not going to hang up the phone on anybody, the quote unquote, right? They're still listening. I don't know, man.
It's weird.
Yep. All right. Maybe it opens a little bit more of a window for us to do a little better.
Yeah.
For playing well. So, speaking of the free agents out there, what's your big three, right? You got Jordan Montgomery, Blake Snell, Cody Bellinger. Have they been really the big three? Was there four? I'm trying to think who signed that was kind of on that list.
I mean, you could
Ohtani's
say
in it and is in another one.
right.
Aaron Nola.
Imanaga.
Aaron Nola was in another one too because he signed so early. Sonny Gray, you could say, and that's pretty much it. So if you wanted to put Sonny Gray in that category, Rhys Hoskins is an interesting one just because he didn't play last year, so you don't have like a
right.
You know what I mean? It's not like the big players who went into this offseason. After that, you could say Chapman, Soler, Brandon Belt, JD Martinez, Clayton Kershaw. So many more guys still available out there. Like there's like 100 major league players still available. And I say major league players because like players that are like have a good chance of being on a major league team.
Yeah.
Not just they've played Major League Baseball, because some of these guys, there's way more than that, that are free agents.
Yeah.
But a lot of those guys are going to get picked up in these like minor league deals or, I mean, I said Clayton Kershaw, he even might be like a half a season type guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'll sign in June or July and ramp up and probably June, ramp up, show up in July, August for the
he's not,
back stretch.
He won't even be able to throw for a while still. I don't believe it. I think he's still recovering.
Oh, really?
From an injury. Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, it was reported this week Cody Bellinger has not gotten an official offer yet. Not one.
Yeah, well, I mean, the dude's asking for astronomical numbers.
Well, do we know that?
I mean, I would assume.
What is it? Yeah, I mean what is assume is fine, but I don't know. I mean,
I haven't seen any like numbers linked to him, but I can't imagine why. I don't know how the process works. Like, I don't know if no official offers. I mean, people could still be talking, obviously.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, they could be calling up his agent, and his agent throws out a number. They're like, yeah, I won't even start with that.
Well, that's Scott Boras, obviously. So
yeah.
So let's start there, right? I mean, we understand the way that Scott Boras operates. He's representing all three of these guys, which is why they're all three still out there, because Boras will make sure to get his guys paid, and he's good at it. He continues to do it every year. These three guys are just interesting to me. Jordan Montgomery, I think, because of what he did in the postseason, I think that he made some people a little more of a believer in what he's doing. But there was even like the Yankees even was like, I don't know. But it's because they watched him kind of do the dance, right? Obviously, Blake Snell has his things around him. We've talked about it at length with, the whole third time through the order, 5 innings and he's out kind of a thing. I think there's a lot of people who would pause to give him a ton of money. The Yankees made an offer and he was like, what was it? What did he come back with? We looked at this the other day. It was like,
it was like 5 years, 150. And he was like, about 7 years, 270.
Yeah.
Or something like it was
basically
crazy.
He was like, if my AAV's down, I want more years to get the total, but also to get like the security kind of thing. But if it's a high AAV, he'll take less years, something like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, seems
he's asking
obvious,
for too much money.
He is asking for too much money. So for me, that one's kind of expected because of what he's asking for. He'll end up signing a short-term high AAV. I think he will.
Yeah.
And I think that if you did that, I think that'd probably be the safest way to sign him. Listen, pay the guy. I mean, he has the opportunity to win you a Cy Young. He's got 2 of them.
Right.
Pay him. But for someone like me, I'm not doing it. Just because I value innings too much, and the guy doesn't throw innings.
Right.
And when he does, he'll win you Cy Young. So
there's a lot of pitches.
There's that.
He doesn't throw a lot of innings.
Right. Right. So back to Bellinger. I mean, because that's one that's like, oh, he's back. And I looked up some stuff and I'm okay, let's talk about it, right? 2019, 47 homers, juice ball year, 2019. We understand that. 2020, throw it out the window, whatever. I mean, he's okay. 239, but when you only play 50, 60 games,
right.
That could have came up. That could have went even further down. You don't know. Then he goes to hit 165 and 210 in the next 2 years. In 22, he did hit 19 home runs, entered free agency, signed the whole pillow contract thing. But 19 home runs is a far cry from the 47 he hit in 2019 and even the 39 in 2017. But last year, his highest season was 2019, average-wise, 305. He hits 307 last year. On base percentage, about 50 points lower, but his average was there.
Right.
So he's not quite MVP. I mean, he hit 26 home runs. But it looks like he's back, right? 881 OPS, 100 points higher than his 2020 season, 200 points higher than 22, and 300 points higher than 21. He's still a long ways off from those home run numbers. I mean, we're 20 home runs off.
And I think that's okay. You know what I mean? I mean, 47 home runs is a lot.
Yeah.
So,
and like we said, juice ball year, I don't know how much of that, you know what I mean?
Right. If you're going to come in and you're going to hit 25 to 30, I'm signing you for a good chunk of money. Like, I think that's payable.
He doesn't strike out a lot, but he also doesn't hit the ball that hard. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
As far as his StatCast numbers, 22nd percentile in exit velo, and we're talking 100% is the best. 0% is poor.
Right.
27th in barrel. Hard hit is 10th. Right? So his K numbers and his whiff numbers are still they're good. So there's a lot there to like. Overall, his batting value is 88th percentile. So he's still like you said, there's a lot there to like. But it's obvious. There's an obvious reason why there's an issue here. He had 3 bad years, and he had 1 year where he kind of bounced back, but not all the way back. What kind of money are you asking for? MVP money? Because that's not what you are right now. You're a good player. You're not an MVP.
No,
I'm not going to pay you like one. But that's the kind of thing. He's going into what, his age 28 season? Sign another pillow contract.
Right.
Do it again. He should have just re-upped his Chicago deal.
Right.
He was in a good place. Just, hey, stay there. Because I don't think he realized, like, you're going to have to do this for a couple of years. We're not all believing this yet.
Right. Right.
Or maybe that's what it is. I think that there's a lot of teams right now that are kind of like, yeah, maybe they are calling. Maybe he is saying big monies. Fangraphs, by the way, has him 6 years, 144, which is a $24 million AAV. I think that's probably all right.
Yeah.
I think I could go there. I think I believe enough. I don't know, though. If it's for a team like the Pirates, I probably wouldn't, because a risk like that would kill you. You know what I mean? If it didn't work out, it wouldn't kill you. It wouldn't kill you. I don't want to overstate here, but that would hurt.
It would hurt.
Taking a risk like that.
Yeah.
But not for a lot of teams. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, we've got protection around him. Heck yeah, I'm going that far. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe in 2 years, the Pirates would have been in a better position. Of course, the payroll will be up because they'd be starting to hit arbitration and stuff, but I don't care about that. Listen, I'm not here to worry about money. I'll let Bob Nutting worry about that.
Right.
Dang it, Bobby.
But I'm not here to worry about that. I think the player's worth it. You pay him, right?
Right.
As a fan, I'm just like, yeah, but I don't want them handcuffed because I know they already worry too much about money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's my reaction to it. My decision would be different if I was in that seat, and I'm not. So,
yeah, that's. I don't like to think. I don't like to play that game. You know what I mean? Let me just tell you who I think is going to fit.
Yeah, exactly. Then you guys can make it happen. I'm not paying any money, but I'm also not taking any risk being a fan. So
right.
I want you to take a risk, but we're just going to talk about this. So I don't think I'm not saying all this because I think that Cody Bellinger is going to be a Pirate this year. Although it would be kind of interesting, right? I'd take a 1-year pillow contract.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I said the same thing about Rhys Hoskins. By the way, if you haven't figured it out, if it's the first thing I've said about it, I mean, I see Bellinger as a first baseman. That's what I see him as, right?
Yeah.
But he certainly can handle outfield.
Mm-hmm.
He certainly can handle center field.
Right.
So imagine them going after a guy like that and starting off the year at center field. And if Rowdy Tellez is not working, then you cut ties with him. You put Bellinger at first, and Sawinski can handle center for that matter.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And Bellinger gives you Gold Glove first base.
Yep.
So, yeah. All right. So let's talk about guys actually the Pirates are interested in. And I'm going to start with the little one. That's not what I meant. Was that bad? Was that bad choice of words?
Probably.
Okay. Yeah, because Tony Kemp is only 5'6", so that was a bad choice of words. But Tony Kemp was reported has interest from the Pirates and like 5 other teams. I don't know how interested. Hopefully a minor league deal, and then I'm in.
Right. Yep.
He's been pretty bad. He said like 2 good years out of 8. About 1 good year out of 8, I would really say. Yeah, he's not good. It's been a couple years since that year happened as well. This is a minor league deal. And if it is a minor league deal, I don't care. Go for it, man.
Right.
I'll go back in time. I'll go back in time, dude. If Kai Tom, Dustin Fowler, Anthony Alford, come on, help me out here. Throw some names out. Because I'm throwing some names out here. Tyler Heineman, Josh Van Meter. If any of those guys were minor league deals, I'd probably have been like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Even through all those years, I probably said, that's fine. Because minor league deals are important. Just sign them.
Right.
Sign them. I don't care.
It's a bunch of them.
I mean, obviously, there's a certain point where it's like, oh, well, he's playing in AAA. We would like to see X player in AAA. And you're probably right. You know what I mean? You don't want to block those guys from going to AAA either.
Right.
But, I don't want a bunch of them. But like if you sprinkled a couple of those guys into minor league deals, I'd have been like, yeah, it's fine. Because it wouldn't have mattered, right? And you could just, whatever. Anyway, I think that's all that is. If there is interest, if there's anything. I mean, we heard Adam Frazier too before he signed. So maybe there is something where they're trying to bring a guy into spring training and push, these 4 players extra hard. Because we went into spring training last year with a number of players who had the opportunity to win second base. And nothing happened.
Right.
Why not give them another push?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody has to step up. For my money, that's either Peguero or Gonzalez. But if Triolo comes in and it's like, hey, we really don't want him on the bench, second base is his position. I mean, you can make a case for first base as well. I'm going to doubt that. Mm-hmm. I think that's Connor Joe and Rowdy Tellez. I think there's no question for me. Now, obviously, if they're terrible or get traded, if in the sense of Connor Joe, but anyway, and also G1 Bay.
Mm-hmm.
If he comes in and lights the world on fire in the spring, then that's what happens. But if that's what you're trying to do, none of those guys could take it, and you could throw Tucupita Marcano into the mix of that group as well when you're talking last season, right?
Right.
So, yeah, it's just nobody took it. So if you're trying to push, I'm here for it. Push them. Yeah. Sometimes it has to be tangible, Jake. I know that these are pro baseball players, and there's nothing that's going to make them work harder because they already work harder. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? They're all working harder. They're at 100%. There is no 110. I don't care what anybody says. That doesn't exist. All it means is that if you think you went to 110, you were only at 90 before. That's all I'm saying. Because you only have 100. Anyway, Gary Sanchez is the other guy. Gary Sanchez reported interest. And I don't know that there's a whole lot of other teams listed in that post that I saw. So as I refresh Twitter just to make sure that they didn't sign him or something, you know what I mean? I don't know, man. What do you think of Gary Sanchez? How's this fit work? Is it Ali Sanchez is gone kind of a thing?
I mean, I would assume that would be the case. I mean, he's going to get to catch a load of the games, and then I think Henry Davis catches the bulk. But still, you're looking at a guy who's going to come in and, if he gets 200 plate appearances, he's still going to hit you 15 home runs.
I think I have his numbers here from last year. Obviously, the 19 home runs last year and 260 plate appearances was 19 home runs. So, yeah. This is a guy who, how many? That's 72 games. So, it's a little more than half. Mm-hmm. He did catch he was Blake Snell's personal catcher. So, there's that. Mm-hmm. He's obviously not awful behind the plate, or at least
right. He got the assist on a Cy Young award.
Capable, right. So there's something there. 31, average is going to be low, power is going to be high.
Something that we had said before, but it's more of a lock that the power is going to be there than, we got Austin Hedges. He's going to have low hitting numbers, but man, he's got some pop.
Yeah, some pop is different than what this guy has.
Right.
You know what I mean? Some pop is like, you might be able to get like 12 home runs from him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's different from then got some pop.
Right.
And Hedges was, we probably got the worst version.
The worst version, yeah.
And that's lower than what we even thought, and we thought it was, anyway. We don't need to revisit that. But yeah, this is I would sign up for this.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of 2020, if he plays if he doesn't have to play 100 games, he plays 70 games. He's at 19 home runs, 70, 100. I guess only 16 in Minnesota that one year. But the power's there.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. And so, I think it would be good. I think he is a major leaguer. He would play Major League Baseball. He's going to be the backup if he comes. Yeah. That's just the way it is. Or at least part-time, right? They're going to pick a guy. They're going to say he's your guy, and that's it. So, I don't know. I don't think I'd hate it. It means Jason DeLay is probably playing in AAA.
Yeah.
I can't see three catchers without NDB in there. I can't see three catchers right now.
No.
And still running platoons in right field and first base. First base, running a platoon at first base to me is so difficult because it wastes a roster spot.
Yeah.
And your outfield is so crowded, which, by the way, is why I think CSN got the DFA.
Right.
It's so crowded that Connor Joe's going to have a hard time even getting playing time out there.
Right.
I don't know. Anyway. You got to score runs. Home runs are guaranteed runs.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I would sign up for him as a backup catcher in that case and go from there.
Yeah, I'm in.
So, that'd be nice. I'm doing all right as far as the cough thing. I'm on the mute button. I'm doing all right. So I think we can keep going here.
All right.
MLB Network's top 10 right now, and this is just a quick conversation here at the end. At the end of the show, there were some talks. Let's talk about this top 10 right now because I've seen a lot. Ke'Bryan Hayes obviously not on the list, and I've seen several people kind of comment like, "Oh, MLB Network doesn't think that he's a top 10 third baseman," right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting to me because, like, first off, who is MLB Network? Like, it's a bunch of individuals, first off. But, okay, they all signed off on it, right?
Right.
Except for the fact that, like, the top 10 right now is not even made by anything that can think.
Right. It's made by the shredder.
The shredder is a computer. It's AI algorithm stuff, right? It's the last 3 seasons, and it uses WAR, weighted runs created plus, StatCast stuff, but it's the last 3 seasons.
Yeah.
So no human bias at all. Which means if you look at a player, here's the cough coming. If you look at a player and say, well, yeah, but I think he's prime for a breakout, that's fine, but that's not what's going to show up here.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's not what shows up here. So let's look at it, obviously, because he's not there. There was 4 or 5 players in the graphic they put up about the just missed, and he wasn't even in that. So how wrong? Okay, first off, Jake, is Ke'Bryan Hayes a top 10 third baseman in Major League Baseball right now, in your opinion?
So that's tough. In my opinion, yes.
Okay. I think so too. I think he's near the bottom of that list, which is it's still the bottom of the top, right? So let's not, if you're in this list, you're very high on a player.
Yeah.
Unless you think that it's the worst position in baseball. Then I could see you saying, like, well, I don't love him, but he's in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, if you put him in this list, you really like him, even if he's number 10. Some people, if he's number 12, you might still really like him if the position's really hot, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, I looked at the human players on here. Human people.
The humans.
Humans. I looked at the humans.
The human lists?
Yeah, the human lists. Yeah. I was trying to think of, like, what you would call the people that are on the show, right? Anyway.
Yeah.
Mike Petriello. Yeah. Mike Petriello had Hayes at number 9. Sarah Langs had him at number 7. And the social media vote had him at number 9.
Which, if anybody knows when that shows up, let us know, because
we haven't seen
it
at all. I think they're doing it on the New York subway, but it's a social media, so that's fair. It's somewhere on social media. I don't know what platform, and I don't know when they put them up, because I only see the lists when they're done voting.
Right.
Brian Kenny, Steve Phillips, and Vince. I think it's Gennaro. Is it Gennaro? I know who it is. I can see him right now. He's the guy that's balding. He used to be the president of Sabre. So, like, I know exactly who it is. I just can't think how he says his name. Anyway.
Right.
Do I think this is a major snub? I think if all these guys go into it, looking at the last 3 years, then I think it's fair that they left him off. Ke'Bryan Hayes, I mean, the shredder in and of itself doesn't like players who miss games. Right. If you're injured, whatever algorithm they've put in there, I've seen it in the past. It's low if you miss games. And Ke'Bryan Hayes, 96, 136, 124 games in the last 3 years. So there's some missed games there.
Yeah.
And his weighted runs created plus in those years have been 85, 87, and 101. He's not top 10 when you think about that. Right. Now, going into 24, I think he's top 10. And I think some people view their lists that way.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it too, like when I'm looking at these lists, I'm looking at I weigh more on playing the position, because I'm not thinking as much as hitting as I am as playing the position of third base. And playing the position of third base, he's number 1. Okay, so then you add in the hitting, and that's going to obviously bring him down the list, because he hasn't shown it full go all season yet.
Yeah. I think a 101 weighted runs created plus, that's literally 1% better than the league average. Mm-hmm. To me, that's all he needs to be in the top 10.
Yeah.
If he's literally a league average hitter every year, he's in the top 10 because of how good his defense is. And I think that some of that is weighed. Probably not by the shredder. It's mostly offensive. It is how good do you hit and what position do you play, and I'll put you in this list.
Right.
Now, it does use WAR. WAR has defensive metrics included in it. His WAR's not bad because of his defensive metrics. However, I honestly just don't feel like it's an oversight. I know what the shredder's looking at.
Right.
If it's looking at the last 3 years, I can't make an argument.
I'm with you.
If I'm making a list for 2024, he's in it.
100%.
Okay. First base is actually a good example of this. Not a single human put Brandon Belt in their top 10, and the shredder had him number 6, I think. Right? I don't have it what number he was, but I think I still have that article up.
Yeah, I forget.
I do have the article up. Let me go to first base real quick here. I don't mean to take extra time. He's number 8. Brandon Belt, ladies and gentlemen, made the shredders list. Dude, he's not a top 10. No. No. And he's not on anybody else's list, right? I mean, that's leaving out guys like Nathaniel Lowe, Josh Naylor, even Vinny Pascantino. Reese Hoskins wasn't on, like, once again, Shredder's not going to do that, right? Because he missed a whole season. How's he not on all these guys' list? How's he not a top 10 first baseman on everybody's list? Anthony Rizzo. All those guys that I just said are better than Brandon Belt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, anyway. How does Reese Hoskins only make one list?
It's because he missed an entire season.
I don't care. Man. Anyway. Left field, Brian Reynolds makes number 4. He was left off of Petriello's list, but he was on everybody else's list. That's not as surprising, right?
Right.
Center field, Sawinski, unsurprisingly, did not make the top 10. He did, however, make number 9 on Sarah Lang's and number 10 on Brian Kenny's list. So a little bit of Jack Sawinski love.
Yeah.
And Bednar, number 7 on the relief pitcher. He was left off of Petriello's list, Gannero's list. All right. Let me just say this. Number 6 on Sarah Lang's. Jake Peavy had him number 4. Fan vote had him number 9. Gennaro and Brian Kenny left David Bednar off of their list, but included Robert Stevenson on their list. Are you buying that?
I mean, he changed something.
Last
what was
3
it, the
years.
cutter or whatever? But
well, they don't have to look at last 3 years.
Right.
No, man, I'm not buying that.
But I'm not buying it to leave Bednar off in order to put him on.
Right.
But I do
Gennaro
believe that he got
Stevenson,
a lot better.
But Gennaro put him number 6.
Yeah, I'm not buying that.
What a wild take. I just want to know in the top 10 who this guy put after him. Yeah, that's so high.
Yeah.
Fairbanks. He put Fairbanks as number 10, and the shredder has him number 2. That's how far off. And then you include
relief pitchers top 10. Like,
that's hard.
There's a million of them.
That's hard to do.
It is.
You want to put a bunch of closers up there, but I don't know. That's difficult. Anyway,
yeah.
Does this stuff matter to you at all? You think it's just fun or not even that?
I mean, I like to look at it. I don't put a whole lot of thought into it, but I like to see it. I mean, it's nice to see a few Pirate guys get on there. You know what I mean?
Nice to hear them get some love. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like making lists.
But
you know what I mean?
Like reading other people's?
No. So I mean, I'm there. You know what I mean? Like I think it's fun that they do it. I like making lists too. But outside of that, like it doesn't mean anything for the Pirates. It doesn't mean, oh, well, maybe the Pirates won't win many games because they don't have top 10 players.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know. I did notice Ellie De La Cruz was in a couple of people's lists for shortstop. And, you know, there's been some statistic comparisons lately with O'Neal Cruz. They're practically, you know, like they're close to the same player in a way.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if he just plays, you could say that those same people that like Ellie would be into O'Neal Cruz as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, crazy, man. This has been a wild offseason. We've had things to talk about somehow.
Yeah.
But it feels weird saying we're a week away from having like actual baseball news.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Pitchers and catchers reporting, not this week, but next week. There's actual things happening. People are throwing and catching, and you're going to get reporters, and they're going to be putting those little videos up and hearing that pop and the snap and all those things, and start getting all of us baseball fans just jacked up for the sport to come. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
And yet there's still 100 major league players to be signed. Ish.
Yeah.
Give or take. Give or take 10 or 20. It's literally that crazy of a field. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's going to be really interesting. I could see a lot of these guys not signing till, March. I really can see that. I think if you're a veteran, there's a lot of spring training you could miss out on if you're doing your own work, and they're all doing their own work.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
the only thing you're missing out on is actually like team chemistry.
Yeah. Yeah, there's something there. Hitters, you said this last week, hitters and timing is something that, you can't really simulate. You want to get out on the field and
pitcher-catcher relationships.
Yeah, those kind of things too. Hey, next Sunday, Super Bowl, we can finally close the door on the NFL season, if that's how you look at things, and then turn our attention solely to baseball. Sorry for basketball and hockey fans. Are you a basketball hockey fan?
Basketball, not much at all. And hockey only if the Penguins are in it in the playoffs.
All right. So basically, those of you who have something else to do, good for you. For a lot of us, like you said, I'm kind of there too. I could be interested in it. It's not that I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe not basketball, but hockey, I could get into it, but I just don't. Right.
See, I got a good friend that's huge into basketball, and he's a Celtics fan, and the Celtics are just ridiculously good this year. So it's just, I'm a little bit interested.
All right.
A little bit, not a lot.
Yeah. I've got nothing against hockey. Nothing. Mm-mm. I like it. I just don't watch it, right? I just don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a way to, but yeah. Because I get Fubo's a little bit more expensive. I don't pay for it in the off season. So anyway, but the NFL wraps up next week with the Super Bowl. We will most certainly record before that Super Bowl game.
Yeah,
but we'll probably not talk about it because it won't have happened yet, and we don't want to sound out of date when you guys are listening to it.
Right.
So, who are you rooting for?
Oh,
Now's
Niners
our chance.
All the way.
Niners all the way.
All the way.
You guys probably the real ones. Right, we say this again. We're an hour in, so the real ones. If you've been around for a long time, you've probably heard that Jake's been a Broncos fan for a minute. That's probably a story for another day on how in the world that kind of a thing happened. But
it's not either a long way, story.
I texted you this earlier this week and was like, I had no idea that Christian McCaffrey was Ed McCaffrey's son. I had no
There's
clue.
another one coming too. There's another. His son's a wide receiver.
Yeah, I said that to Katie, and she's like, "Oh, their whole family's just ridiculously talented." I'm like, "Oh, I didn't know. I just didn't even. It never crossed my mind. I had no clue. I never even thought about it.
You got Ed McCaffrey's son playing, and you got Mike Shanahan's son coaching.
Right. So for a Broncos guy, that's
and
kind
I
of
hate the Chiefs.
And you hate the Chiefs. Oh, yeah. You hate the Chiefs. My biggest thing right now is this whole Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce thing. I'll tell you one thing, man. I like Jason Kelsey. I think he's been a fun time. Like for a center to get this kind of, I think that's been fun. I'm fine with it. Mm-hmm. Just not the same for his brother, man. He won the Super Bowl last year and acted like they were an underdog. Yeah. And went on there yelling like, you guys doubt. I'm like, who doubted you, man? You weren't the underdog. You were the favorite in this whole thing.
Yeah.
So I'm sure if they win, he'll do it again. He'll do the whole thing again. And it's like, cool, you wanted to play with a chip on your shoulder, but like you're lying to yourself.
Right.
You're not that guy.
You're creating the chip.
Yeah, exactly. So whatever, dude. I just don't. No, nobody's doubting. I mean, earlier this season, 100%. But we had reason to.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not in it to pick who's going to win. Hopefully it's a good game. Hopefully it's close. Yeah. Hopefully there's nothing crazy that happens. I know some people are like, I really want there to be drama so we can talk about it for a few weeks. I don't. I would just like it to be a good game. I don't want a bad call. I don't want, you know what I mean?
Right.
Or a bad call. Or I don't want somebody getting hurt real bad.
Right.
And making it be like, oh, we would have won if it wasn't for that. Like, I want all the stars to be healthy. I don't want somebody to have to play a half without Mahomes or something like that. I don't want to see that. Right? I want to see everybody there. Hopefully it's a good game. We'll be hanging out with some friends and having a good time. And
I'll probably be at work.
Yeah. Not for the whole thing, dude. That game goes late. That's why we're not going to record. Like, I'm not going to wait till that thing's over.
Yeah, I mean, it starts at what, 6:30?
Doesn't matter. They slow the time down for that game. It's the NFL. They can do whatever they want.
I mean, it starts at 5:30 here. I don't get off work till 9 o'clock. It's probably going to be over by the time I get home or close to it.
All right. Well, last week here with no real baseball coverage. So we're almost there.
Mm-hmm. We've
almost made it. And spring's coming early, according to Punxsutawney Phil. Some daggum groundhog.
Mm-hmm.
No offense.
If you care about that kind of thing.
If you care about that. I always thought that, like, it was the same thing either way. 6 more weeks of winter. And then if he sees his shadow, it's spring comes early. Okay, how many weeks? You're not telling me because it's the same. You're not telling me. It's 6 more weeks of winter or only 6 weeks till spring. I swear to you that I think that's what it is. I don't think that there's any difference between the two.
Yeah. No idea.
Well, guys, next week, it's going to be a different attitude, I think. Looking forward to the season or baseball activities getting underway.
Yeah.
So we'll talk to you next week.
The sizzle of the ball, all the crack of the bat, pop of the glove.
That's the kind of crap you're going to hear next week.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go Bucks.
Let's go Bucks.
Thanks for listening to my dad and Uncle Jake on the Bridge to Buctober podcast. Follow them on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Bridge2Buctober. Don't forget to subscribe so you know when new episodes are released. Clear the deck, cannonball coming, and let's go Bucks.